What's up, guys? Welcome to Knife Banter. Dallas and I have David here. We're talking sharpening. Let's talk knives. What's up, guys? Welcome to Knife Banter. Dallas, how you doing?
I'm doing good if we can hear over David.
Hey, this is library.
How are you doing?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm doing good. Dallas, you?
I'm doing great.
Guys, we have David on the show today because not only does he have a massive collection, which everybody has been enjoying, he also is probably one of the better knife sharpeners here in the building. So we wanted to have a little knife banter where David kind of explained sharpening and, you know, maybe some tips and tricks. And me and Dallas are just gonna chat about it.
You know,
ask questions.
I wanna clarify something before we get going too much. David has self-taught, YouTube, things like that, and he's also researched the crap out of it. There are different ways of doing things. This is just the way he does it. And he puts edges. He has taught me how to put edges on all of my stuff and how to enjoy it. It sounds stupid. When I clean my gun at home,
it's methodic.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta be able to. I mean, you're just focused. Plus, you want a great outcome, so it does. Well, it becomes enjoyable.
It's like a therapy almost. Yeah. But and we've only picked just a few sharpeners. We'll talk about those in a second. But and we're only gonna do 2 different blade shapes. We kind of felt, I think David and Kurt and I kind of felt that the Tonto was a must. David can show us how he does a Tonto, and I have my PM2 that's in M4 that he sharpens, and that thing, man, the Tonto portion and the regular blade, just sharp as sharp.
Guys, it cuts hot butter like hot butter, and that's the fact.
Interesting. And then we figured Tonto, and then we'll just get something with a belly, and kind of he'll just kind of go through that with you as well. So let's get to it, huh?
What is your go-to piece that when you need to throw a quick edge on, what do you go for?
If I need to throw a quick edge on something, I actually go to something like the Spyderco Sharpmaker. Like if it needs to be quick, I'm not like looking to get anything like having to set it up or get it like a perfect angle, and this is mostly for my pocket knives.
Right.
I do have some fixed blade knives that you can use on here, but the reason that I go to the Sharpmaker or something like this, like one of these angles, is literally it's just set it up and you've got the angle that you're set up for.
Right.
Now, that's quick and easy, but the only thing about these ones is then you're kind of funneled into a few angles. And so that's why I use it like on my work knives. Like you can use it on nicer knives. Like Spyderco knows what they're doing. These are fantastic stones. In fact, we were talking about that a minute ago.
Yep.
The reason I like them so much is Spyderco's stone quality is excellent. I mean, excellent. Like it is fantastic. They really do make great stones.
I've had a couple of my knives, whether it be 20 CV, M4, S35, S30, that the Sharpmaker actually does better than just about anything else. The only thing this does different is I can dial it in very precision, just like the name. But I can get it very close on the angle that I'm shooting for. But I found that some of them, when it comes, it's easier to do it on the Sharpmaker, and it'll take the edge. I can't explain it. I don't know why.
I think it's the type of, they use a type of synthetic emerald in them, and it's supposedly like the hardest sharpener you can get. They're super hard, and so that has a different effect on those steels, like 20 CV, M390, S90 or something that's really difficult.
Really hard.
Okay, so we have the Sharpmaker open. Grab a knife on the table and just run us through how you would go about using the Sharpmaker.
First of all, I've never used this knife on a Sharpmaker before, so the first thing I'm gonna do is see if I can kind of find my angle. And there's a few ways you can do that. One of them is like a bevel gauge, like a little, they come
the little key ring, little disc.
You have those on the website. Jump over and check that out.
And those are handy. My personal favorite way is actually to take a Sharpie, just a regular Sharpie, and you're just gonna mark just the edge of your knife. So you're filling in the entire edge.
Right.
So you can see that it's like edge to edge. You don't want to get too much on there because it will stain some knives.
Okay.
This one I'm not worried because it's 20 CV. But then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a pass on it, kind of eyeball it, get it close, and then just take a pass. Stopping my tip in the middle. That's one thing that I can't stress enough. Whenever you're doing any of these sharpeners, kind of have a point in the middle of your sharpener where you stop your tip, because as soon as you release pressure, lighten pressure, or drag it off, you're gonna start warping your tip.
I am super guilty of that. I do that all the time.
Where you go off of it, where you're like this, and you do the, I'm not gonna do it because I don't want to ruin the 940, but you have your angle and you're like, wow.
Yep.
And you're pushing and you go off the edge and it rounds your tip or
That's
whatever.
me.
So yeah, don't round your tip.
The reason I say is because I've done it. Like I got to the end, I had an old Kabar, just a regular Kabar short that I used for a long time, and I had to replace it because after a while I was like, it's so weird. My knife is so sharp, but then the tip is really dull and it's kind of roundy. And I realized I watched a guy on YouTube, and sure enough, he was saying you gotta stop and pull off.
Huh.
Stop and pull off. So whether
Tips, guys. This is what I'm talking about.
little things that make a huge difference. This one in particular is at too high an angle for this particular setup. Now, I could mess with it and see if I can get it. Also, you can reshape your blade on there.
But yeah, we got something else. Different, and there's different tools. We'll talk about some of the other sharpeners. These are just some that we actually have that we use around the office, that we literally just grabbed off our bench out there. Other than this one here, this is my personal set, so yeah.
That's a
Don't touchy. That's Dallas's.
Something else about these Sharpmakers too that is really interesting is they have fishing hook sharpeners.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they're super easy to use. Like they really are. You just set them up and literally it gets the right angle for you.
Okay, so let's recap. You got a marker,
Okay.
you fill in your edge, you take one pass, stop the tip in the middle of the stone, lift up, and you said this one isn't really exactly what we want to use for sharpening this knife. So, okay, let's throw the Spyderco aside and see what you would like to do
I'll
next.
set it over there, Kurt. Oh.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. So, if that's the case, and I've marked it, which I did on yours when I was sharpening
This
it.
one's already pre-set up.
So on this one, I'm just gonna mark it again, even though I already have the angle. I wanna put a nice wide mark on there, and you guys can see that. And with using there's a 320, a 600 grit, and then an actual ceramic hone on this one. So I'm gonna start with the 300 because that's kind of what we've been working with to get the edge back.
Yeah.
Because you can get a knife really sharp with a rough stone. I mean, even down to, I've used an 80 grit stone that I got a knife real sharp. But to get that, we're gonna start with that and then work our way down so we get that like razor blade sharp knife.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, which I might be completely, absolutely 100% wrong.
Wrong again.
If you do it with the super rough grit, it won't hold an edge longer. But right?
Theoretically,
Does its edge go away quicker?
it can, because what you're doing is when you're looking at that edge microscopically, is you're seeing that it kind of has some ridges on it.
And then the fine stone smooths it out where it'll hold the edge longer.
Plus, you're also, as you're doing that stone, especially since we're going sideways up and down that, it's kind of like leaving, those deep valleys there. So as you start to use it, it's gonna wear away portions more.
Okay, so you're marking your line, and you've got the 320 on there.
Yes, and what's cool about these work sharp sharpeners or any of the adjustable ones is all I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go up and down in a real light motion. So another thing that you can't stress enough is light touch. You know, you kind of get into it and then you see you're not making much progress. So I have a tendency to push harder and harder and harder. And then pretty soon you're ruining your
The
edge.
sins of sharpening.
Pretty soon you're like, come on, get that. Yeah, I'm impatient. That's why he sharpens my stuff.
But that comes from experience, because if there are 7 deadly sins of sharpening, I've committed all of them several times. Even the easiest methods require patience.
Yes.
And not now. This is a lot less patience than say like a whetstone, which requires years of patience.
Yeah.
Years of patience.
And I'm still not there. But this is a much less patience requiring device.
Right.
Than,
It's your quick go-to.
So what I did is I set the knife up here, and it's got this nice clamp, and it's magnetic, so it literally pops
This is so
right out of
smooth.
there. So you can switch it around and you can also push and rotate the whole blade.
Oh, yeah,
so you
on the
don't
back.
have to like take it out each and every time.
And guys, if you haven't seen our work sharp video, we'll leave the link down in the description, and that will show you a little more of work sharp stuff with the work sharp rep. He was pretty good at showing us some of their other stuff.
Those guys really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They do a great job.
Show us some of the motion. You said you go lightly up and down the blade. Show us some of that.
Yep. In fact, to get myself in the right state of mind, I do only use 2 fingers so that I remember to go really light. And so what I'm gonna do is just up and down 1 time, real light, and then I'm gonna do the other side. Now you can do more passes. You can do 10 on one, 10 on the other, but this one's already pretty close to sharp. So I'm gonna start switching to one pass, one pass, one pass, one
Okay.
pass. And the reason is you're trying to get that edge as even as possible. And if you're doing too much to one side, it's gonna
Right.
start rocking.
Also guilty.
Yes.
Yep.
Same. And then I'm just gonna up and down 1 more time, real light. Again, I let that other finger get there, but I noticed as it happens that I start pressing the blade too much. And every time you do that, you're gonna notice you're gonna sharpen your blade a lot if you're pressing too hard, and you're gonna notice it never gets really sharp. And it's because you keep pushing that burr from one side to the other too much. You're pushing too hard. And so just be light. It's a delicate process. So this one, we've done quite a bit, and it's actually really starting to get an edge. The nice part about this one is that I can adjust to a specific angle, and
Right.
it stays really well. It stays in that angle very well the way it's designed. I can go anything from a pretty fine angle, in fact, too fine an angle that I never had to put it on a knife, to really thick and wedge-like. Like I swear I could put a hatchet head in there and sharpen it.
I love it. That's awesome.
Now I want to put a hatchet head in there.
I
so
kind of
sharpen
want to
it.
as well.
So we have, this here is the regular, I can't remember exactly what it comes in, about $80 or so on the internet, on our website. I can't remember exactly, go double check, it's probably less than that.
I think it's even less than that.
Yeah, I think it is. But anyway, so Worksharp came out with the upgrade kit that comes with these and this little bag that fits this in it. So if
The
that
whole
makes-
kit
the whole kit
fits inside the bag.
so you can take it apart. Now I sound like a Worksharp rep. I don't work for Worksharp, I promise. I just like their products. And you can take
Yeah,
this and-
right, Dallas. Come on, tell us the truth.
so, no, seriously, you can just break this baby down. It has this nifty little case, and it just goes in here into this little plastic case. You have a little pocket to store whatever, and then you clip it in, close it, and it all fits in one little case.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Which this one, this is the basic kit, does not come with this case and or these upgrade. Anyway, so go check it out. We sell the whole kit all together, or if you already have this, you can buy the upgrade to go with it. Go check the website. I'm not exactly sure exactly what comes in at. I think the whole kit's about $120.
Yeah, I think it's right at $120.
And the upgrade's like 50 or 60. I'm not positive.
Right. And also, guys, always check the website, and also look down in the description. We'll have links to these sharpeners that we're
Yeah,
showing.
check the description and whatnot.
Okay, so show us how to do a Tonto blade, or how you would run a knife on these guys right here.
Now Tontos, I actually prefer to do, you can do them on this Worksharp setup. Just as like a side note, what I tend to do is if I'm gonna set it up on this Worksharp, I try to get my knife as even as possible in that clamp.
Right.
But on the Tonto, I move it a little bit towards the edge. And the reason is this secondary angle, I've noticed it keeps a better, I really like on a Tonto, I really like this sharp point.
Yeah.
I like it to be angular and pointed. Now there's some knives that
It's
are,
the first thing to go dull on a Tonto as well.
and when you're sharpening, it's the first thing to get ruined.
And rounded.
You're gonna start losing it just naturally, especially on a hand stone. And we're gonna do it on a wet stone. Nice traditional wet stone. Again, this is a work sharp one. This is actually the exact one I use for it.
Oh, perfect.
So it's what I like. It's a 1000 grit and a 6000 grit. So like super high grits, but it works good because then if I'm moving my hand a little bit too much, it doesn't screw it up as bad. But the Tonto, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna actually treat this like this is two different edges.
Ah, yeah.
So I just pretend like there are two edges on this knife. And so what I'm gonna do is the first one, most Tontos, there are some that are exceptions to this, compound grinds and some other stuff, but generally this is pretty flat. And on like the cold steel, for instance, this is pretty flat.
Right.
So what I'm gonna do is
It's
the
not rounded.
first one is you know how we drag to the middle of the stone?
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna do that same thing, but I'm just gonna pretend like this edge doesn't exist. So I'm gonna do one pass to my middle, one pass to my middle, and then I'm gonna take the blade and act like it's a second edge. Now this is where it gets a little tricky because it does come in with practice, especially on a wet stone, but feeling where that angle is at. And then I'm gonna take this second one and just run it straight across. Now what's different about this second angle is obviously instead of dragging, I'm just gonna run it across. And the reason
Gives it that nice sharp flat edge.
Exactly.
Keeps your point. Also the bend in the Tonto, that cut edge keeps it nice and pointy.
Exactly. And you can even do that with like, say you get the paramilitary in the Tonto. It has kind of a curve to the front Tonto. You can still do that. You just want to pick a point
I should have brought my
and
piano.
run it to the middle.
Right.
Like you almost don't look at it after a while. You almost just real nice and light
Perfect.
move your edge. And if you're gonna do bench stones, they're gonna take a lot of practice. I practiced a lot for years now, and I still don't quite have it down. But there's little things you can do. The marker method, mark your edge with the marker, kind of see where you're filing off your edge at. Another thing is pick a point. So when I start, I always start at the same point, and then I'm actually looking just at that edge and pushing to that point. Real nice and light, just very soft, like very gentle. Almost, someone explained to me that it's almost like you're trying to carve off a paper thin layer off the top of the stone. And if you keep that in mind, it'll keep you from running too hard into one edge or the other.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, show us the other one now.
This is, my wife bought this for me because she's awesome.
She is awesome.
And
Everybody loves the knife that was bought for them, right?
yeah, and this one's the Kershaw Link in 20 CV with an aluminum handle.
It's legit for sure. I like that knife a lot.
This one is kind of nice because it's a big, broad belly. But I'm basically gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna start picturing, but I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna picture that point going to the middle point of my stone. And then just very gently.
And not a lot of pressure, I can see that.
It's because what happens is when you put pressure, you're now dictating where the blade goes.
Yeah.
And that's not what you want. What you want is the blade to tell you where it wants to go.
Be formless, shapeless, like water.
Now, you don't necessarily want it to flop around in your hand, but you do want to feel that edge and let it take you so that it's following the original factory edge.
Guys, this is like wizardry. I don't know what is happening, but this is like a lifestyle. If you're a knife sharpener, if you're not this invested, man.
That's something that I can't say enough, though, is I do stone sharpening because I enjoy it. It's a hobby. It's like Dallas would say, taking apart my gun and cleaning it and making it nice and pretty. And that's what bench stoning is. It's not going to be the way that you get the most perfect edge. There are guys out there who can do it, but they've been doing it their whole lives.
I saw some YouTube videos where I'm like, okay, I don't have that patience.
No, there's
David, have the patience for me.
But the truth is that there are easier methods. This is a method that you do because you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Especially on a 20 CV blade. Do you know how long it's going to take me to sharpen this blade on this stone? It's going to take forever.
35 years. I'm going to guess you're going to be 96 before that happens.
But I will be an expert by the time I get to the end of it. Whereas the precision sharpeners and things like that, like the Spyderco Sharpmaker, those ones are knife sharpeners you can pop out and have your knife sharp in 15 minutes.
Right.
Honestly, especially this one, maybe not so much with like a 20 CV blade.
So would you say entry level, if you want to not mess up and not have the option of messing up, because these things set up pretty well, you should probably get the Sharpmaker or
if you want to go a little deeper.
Precision.
Yeah.
And they are, because they give you that way of doing it that doesn't allow for your shakiness or your bad angle to screw up your knife. So if you have a nice knife, you don't want to screw up the edge,
Right.
and you're just starting out sharpening, I would do one of these two.
Then, after you guys sharpen all your knives, you're gonna be so sucked into the life of a sharpener that you're gonna be, dude, you guys are gonna be doing stones, you guys are gonna be honing, all the things. David, I really appreciate you coming on and showing us some sharpening tips, tricks, some different methods, some different types of sharpeners. Dude, watching you do the Tonto was super cool. I thought that was very interesting. I feel like maybe in a year I might be able to try to do that myself. I don't know, but dude, sharpening. If you guys have a lot of knives, sharpening is the next hobby. You know what I mean?
Really is.
Sharpening knives.
Yep.
And you know, then you can get into the custom game, stuff like that.
Before we close out, though, I just kind of want to mention some of the other brands that we carry of sharpeners.
Right.
You know, the Lanskys, KME.
Yep.
There's quite a few. Just go onto the website, look under our sharpeners. There's some that range from, you know, your filled sharpener that What Sharp does. You know, that's like $20 or something, all the way up to like $400. And it depends on how into sharpening you are.
Yeah.
So yeah, go take a look at all those.
Well, David, thanks for coming on the show and teaching us some sharpening stuff. Guys, we will catch you on the next one.